Okay, we're going to be graphing lines today with a table, and you can see that our standards are here, but we're graphing linear equations. All right, we're going to start with an XY table. We'll learn to do this in another video without an XY table. But we have the line y equals 2x minus 1. So I've just taken on my XY table and I've just written -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. You could write any numbers you wanted to. You need to make sure they fit on your graph grid. But that's it. So I usually go -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 unless I have a fraction. Then I change that up based on the fraction. So you're making x -2, so you evaluate 2x minus 1 by substituting in -2 for the x value. And 2 times -2 is -4, minus 1 is -5. And you go through doing that with each and every one of these. So I put -1 in, that gives me -3. When I put 0 in, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 1 is -1. And you do that with each of these. Now once you get those, then you graph those on the graph grid. So I have the point -2, -5, so I come left 2, I go down -5, I put my dot. I come over, I do -1, -3, I do the same thing, go to the left, 1, down 3. Then I have 0, -1, so I go to 0, go down -1. I have 1, 1, here's the point 1, 1, I go to the right 1, up 1. And the last point is 2, 3. I go to the right 2 and up 3, and then I sketch my line. And that is how you graph a linear equation. All right, this is the next one. I'm not going to go through evaluating each and every point here because you can see what we're doing. But we have -3x plus 2. We're plugging in again -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I'm just going to stop and let you look at this. When I evaluate each of those, this is the point I get, and I'll just be quiet and let you take a look for just a minute at the evaluations. You can also pause the video if you need to look longer. All right, then I go over and I'm going to plot those points, -2, 8. Now, I don't have 8 on my graph grid. Do not panic. Estimate where it would be. This is 6, 7's approximately here, 8's approximately there. Just get in the neighborhood. Put it on there. And then the next one we had was -1, 5, 0, 2, 1, -1, and 2, -4. We put those points in there. We sketch our line. This has a negative slope and goes down as I go from left to right. The other one had a positive slope and went up as I went from left to right. Now I've got one with a fraction here. Same thing, we're going to evaluate. Now, I chose not -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2 this time because my fraction had a 3 in the denominator. So I chose multiples of 3 as my x values. So I did -6, -3, 0, 3, and 6, and I substituted those values in and got my answers. I'm going to pause again and let you look at that. I won't pause long because you can actually pause the video and take a look at that. Again, I plot each of these points, and as you see, it is going down. That's a negative slope, so it's going down from left to right, not going quite as steep because it's a fractional slope, so it's not as steep. This is y equals. This gives students trouble. There's no x. Everything I've done so far has had an x with it. This equation has no x. It's just y equals a number. So what you do is you make up points for x. And I just went with -2, 0, and 2. You could have gone with -1, 0, and 1. I just choose 3 so I can get the way that the line looks properly. So I put, because there's no x values, I went -2, 0, 2, and every y value is 2. So then I graph those points. This is a horizontal line. Every time you graph y equals a number, you're going to always get a horizontal line on that number. My number is 2. So on y equals 2, this is where y is 2, this way. I'm always gonna, that will be a horizontal line at y is 2, every time. Okay, when it's y equals, it's horizontal. Think of it like this, I can write y backwards and it'll lay down. It's flat, it's horizontal. All right, x equals -3. This time they told you that x was equal to something, but there's no y. When that happens, x is always -3, and then I made up values for y, and I just used -2, 0, and 2. It doesn't matter what values you choose, they need to fit on your graph grid so you can graph it, that's all. Then I came over and I graphed those points, -3, -2, -3, 0, -3, -2, and -3, 2. Now, when you see x equals, that's always going to be a vertical line. And it doesn't lay down, it doesn't do anything. You turn x sideways, it just stays x. So x equals a number is always a vertical line at that number. Okay, thank you.